What's up everyone, welcome to Triple Trouble. My name is Gijs.
My name is Chef, and welcome to the 6th day of the Technique Week. In the 6th day of the Technique Week, we are going to talk about the release, and Gijs is going to demonstrate how to do a proper release because I don't know how to.
So the release is maybe the most important part of your shooting. It's not only relaxing your fingers, but it's also making the arrow and the bow go in the forward motion. So as Chef said before in a previous video about aiming, even if your aiming isn't that good, you can still fix a lot with your release.
So something that's important in the release is to note that the clicker is the beginning of the shot, it's not the end of the shot. So when the clicker goes, that's an indication for you to maybe think about releasing. For most people it's just a signal like this is the moment you release. That works, but it might not come in handy in certain situations. So I like to think of it as an indication and not as a signal. So the clicker is the beginning of the shot. Gijs will now demonstrate what happens when the clicker goes. When you're shooting and the clicker goes, you don't open your fingers, but you relax them, and then your fingers will simply go backwards. So look at the fingers. So there was no stretching of the fingers, there was no opening of the fingers. It pretty much just
went backwards.
And almost as if the fingers go through the string and not the other way around.
The backwards motion is a result of your back tension. So it's not something you have to force yourself to do. It's something that results from a proper back tension. If you have really good back tension and the rest of your shot field is really relaxed, your hand will go backwards automatically. The next thing, which is a common mistake, as Chef just explained, is that it's the beginning of your shot. So you want to stay strong at the release, you want to actually make this hand go backwards and your front hand go forward.
Yeah.
So you want to move this hand and your front hand move at exactly the other direction of each other. So there's no going open, no collapse, there's just that strong, really quick motion towards the target.
So what Gijs is saying, this hand and this elbow are moving away from each other right now. And that results in a straight line from the target to his elbow basically.
Yep.
So, like I said, when the clicker goes, nothing changes except for your fingers relaxing. So you don't pull your arm backwards because you're already pulling your arm backwards. It's just that when you relax your fingers and the bow weight drops away, your arm will go backwards automatically because you are not holding the string anymore.
Yeah. So as we explained in the video about your pre-shot, it's really important to make a really relaxed hook with your fingers. So find a finger placement that works for you, that feels relaxed. Then you just hook it on the string and pull back your bow.
When you hook your fingers on the string, there is multiple ways of doing it. I previously only had the tips of my fingers on, which results in a really quick release, but in a very tensed release as well. Recently I changed it, so I basically just did this until I found a position where it just stuck by itself, and for me that's here. My middle finger, you can see that it's a bit folded, but as soon as I start pulling back, it goes into the joint, and this one stays in, and this one sort of slides off. There's no reason to be sad about it sliding off. Just remember that it might be better if you keep your bottom finger on if your fingers permit it. So for me, there's a very distinct difference in length of my fingers. You can see that the joint of my ring finger is much further back than the other two, and therefore it's very difficult for me to keep the bottom finger on the string. And that's why it sort of slides off. It's different with a finger tab, but it's also the same. So for me, I put my top finger in the joint, I put my middle finger past the joint, and my bottom finger, I just sort of let it slide off a little. And then when I pull back, you can see that my hand and forearm are completely relaxed. A relaxed forearm means relaxed fingers, and if your fingers are relaxed, you don't have to open them, or you don't have to use muscle tension to open the fingers, and this will make your release better and more consistent.
So as said before, it's really important to have one motion. You can see here the shows bow and his elbow here. It's moving like that. There's no moment that it's retracting, it's always moving the other direction. So that was it for the 6th day for the release. What did we learn today?
We learned that if you want to release, you don't open your fingers, but you relax them and keep pulling backwards like you would during the shot.
So it's one motion, the extension, and actually also the anchoring, the extension, and the release happens in one motion.
Yeah.
One non-stop motion and a really relaxed motion.
Yeah, I hope you learned something. Tomorrow we'll be back with the follow-through, which is also an important part.
Yeah.
It might not look the same for everyone, but the essentials are the same.
Yeah, so if you have any questions about the release or about the previous videos,
let us know down below.
Yeah, and for now, we'll see you tomorrow.